Hello everybody, this is a super late video for Peachtober days 1 and 2 because I just haven't been able to find the time to film. Like, I was able to film the drawing process, but then I hate recording with other people watching or listening for the audio. So I haven't been able to find, we're all so busy, and like all the people I live with are all home all the time. So finally, it's like, I don't know what time in the morning, and I'm sitting in the car in the driveway, so nobody else can hear me. Yeah. So anyways, there's also some other reasons for this being a late video. I just moved in, and that moving process was pretty crazy, so it's been hard to find time, but here we are. It's late, but better late than never. So as I mentioned in my last video, my goal for October is to kind of like mix and match what prompt challenge I do day by day, depending on what I feel like doing, because my goal for this month is just to create art and enjoy the process. So I'm going to be talking about the process of making these pieces and some of my thoughts and reasons for making art. Mainly the difference between making art for pleasure versus for a final product. So feel free to grab your sketchbooks or use this as a podcast, whatever you want, but let's get into it. Peachtober day 1. So I think it was 3 videos ago where I made this piece. I'll put it up on the screen. Super casually, I was sitting in an A&W, and without much thought, these kind of flame tulips developed. And it was just so simple and free-flowing when I made it, and I really liked how the piece turned out, but I couldn't help thinking that the tulips that I did would look super cool if I cleaned them up and made them into a sticker, but like I wanted to do a new version of it, you know what I mean, like a cleaner version. So I thought, since Peachtober day 1 was tulip and I was super busy moving in that day, I had no excuse. I might as well do an easy piece I've already sketched out and I already have the idea for. And finally, you know, accomplish the goal of cleaning this thing up. So I wasn't sure if I wanted to trace the little paintings that I'd already done or paint them again from scratch. But in the end, I decided to just trace both of them and sort of mesh them together, since one of them that I'd painted was a little bit cramped in the corner, so it like looks squished, and the other one leaned in a weird way. So anyways, I meshed them together, and that process was easy enough. Then I transferred it onto my sketchbook paper and started painting. So I think I just worried so much about the painting process for this sketch. Like, even before I'd started, I turned it into such a weird experience. Like, it's almost like when I know a piece is sketched out and ready to be painted and the final product matters, it's like I just don't want to touch it, even though the process is so simple and I've set it all up for myself. I don't know, I have so much trouble starting, and I think I realized my reason for making art, like the purpose I go into that specific art making process with, really decides, you know, how I feel about making art in that moment. Like, I'm just not going to enjoy the process as much if I have a final goal in mind, and I love just making to make with no added pressure. So I started thinking about why the process of painting the tulip was so easy and free-flowing last time. Like, obviously it was because there was no pressure. I wasn't making a final product, but I was making a video. So I think I realized I liked how the tulips turned out because they weren't just on a white background pre-sketched. They were super blurry, freehand. There was no pressure, since the painting like didn't really matter that much. And really, I think it was just having that blurry background where the lines weren't just like staring at me or blaring at me. I don't know, whatever. So I figured I would set up like a similar experience for this painting as I did for the last one. Even though I planned on using gouache, I took out my watercolors and made a bit of a mess of the paper to kind of ease the pressure of that blank page. So, you know, with the watercolors, I blurred the sketch lines, made the whole process just kind of feel more casual. And honestly, it changed everything almost instantly. Once the page was messed up, the painting process became exciting because I wanted to fix what I had done and finish the painting. I didn't want to leave it in my sketchbook like half done. So after a full day of moving in at like 2 a.m. or something, as soon as I found spare time for myself, I found myself on my bedroom floor, because we had no furniture yet, hunched over my sketchbook with my gouache palette, finishing this piece. And it was fun, and it was super casual, and even though it had been set up with a sketch and a plan, it was still free-flowing, which was new for me. Now, I don't really know if the final painting turned out exactly how I had imagined it, but honestly, the other option is that it never would have gotten done. So overall, I'm happy with the fact that I finished it, because I don't usually do that. I usually have all these ideas that I never get around to making. I think I'm gonna edit it a bit digitally before I turn it into a sticker, but like, this is a big deal for me. Like, I just have so many ideas for things that I've already made that I just want to clean up, and I never do it. So it would seem like the same thing as last year, Inktober, even day one, has already like changed my creative process. So that's exciting, you know. To be honest with you, I'm not exactly sure which version of the tulips I like better between the originals and the one that I made in this video, because there's elements I like in both and dislike in both. Like the first ones, I feel like the shapes were off, but I really like the colors I used, like those deep blues. I didn't really use as much blue in this one. I don't know, like it was weird. Like I tried using blue, and every time I just wanted to make it green. Like when I'm thinking about it, I'm like, oh, it's leaves, it has to be green. But when I was just doing it freehand last time, I just was gravitating towards these blues. I don't know if that makes sense, but nonetheless, even though it's not a full-on piece, I think I'm really happy with, you know, the accomplishment of making it, but also the finished product of these tulips. So yeah, successful day one. Peachtober day two. So on day two, I really wanted to make something casually again, since day one was like a bit more intense, like, you know, not really, but just like I had a finished product in mind. I thought I would just paint for pleasure today. So I decided to follow Peachtober's list again and draw inspiration from the day two prompt smoke. I honestly had no idea what I was going to do today, and I thought that figuring that out in my sketchbook was a bit overwhelming. Like, even though there's no pressure on the sketch and the whole goal was just to like have fun making it, I still was like shying away from going right into my sketchbook. But my goal with October right now, with this whole month of drawing, is not to force myself to use my sketchbook or force myself to draw in a certain way. It's just to draw. So I honored the feeling that I didn't want to go right into my sketchbook, and I took out a colored pencil and a scrap piece of paper and just doodled things that had to do with smoke. And it's funny because despite the fact that I was worried, I just like only made one sketch, and I used that first idea that I drew. I don't know, like I liked my idea immediately, but I genuinely don't know if I would have come up with it if I faced the pressure of the empty page in my sketchbook. I feel like I would have drawn differently, if that makes sense. So again, on the floor of my room, I hunched over my sketchbook and painted. And the painting process for this one was genuinely so fun and free-flowing. Like, I don't know what I tapped into on day two, but I really felt no pressure in my sketchbook. Like, I laid down heavy washes of messy paint with the attitude like, I'll fix it later if I don't like it. And I seem to be leaning towards this orange and blue color palette today, I think since I did that live stream on YouTube at the end of September. So I just picked up those familiar colors that I've been using lately and just had fun. After the first layer of paint dried, I went back in with more paint and eventually an ink pen, which I haven't done in so long. Even though I love pens, I feel like there's a certain level of preciseness with them that just doesn't fit my creative process right now. Like, I don't know if that makes sense, but watercolors and paints and, you know, gouache fit my messy approach to making art more than fine liners where it's like very specific details you're making. Anywho, I used a little thin ink pen this time around, and I had so much fun, and I wasn't, you know, feeling too precise, and I didn't even notice that my phone had stopped recording because I was so into the process. Anywho, here is the final piece. I'll put it up on the screen, and while I apologize for the bad filming quality and cut off footage, I did say in my last video that this year was going to be about making art and not worrying so much about the videos, so I guess I did that. I'm going to try and get better footage in the coming days, but we'll see. I think that's about all for this video. I'm going to be posting more videos this month. I have a lot of goals for how many videos I want to post, but again, we'll see. It's about making art, so I'm going to try and loosen up the schedule that I want to have. But yeah, I'm going to be trying to make as much art as possible for various Inktober prompt challenges. So if you're interested in keeping up with what I make, subscribe to this channel. I think most of my art will be here because if they don't turn out great, I still make a video about it. But if they, you know, aren't what I want, I'm not going to post them to Instagram where they're just sitting there as the picture. But I will still post stuff to Instagram, so if you want to check that out, it's in the link in my description. Also, if you want to, I would love to know in the comments below how Inktober is going for you, if you're participating, or why you decided not to participate. And also, specifically what I want to hear is what prompt challenge you're following if you are, because, you know, I'm just going day by day, so if you have prompt challenges that I don't know about with cool prompts, I might use one of them. So yeah. I'm really looking forward to this month of drawing. I'm excited to post it here, and I will see you soon. Bye.